thing you want to know.
Oh, next week's lottery numbers.
Right, well, I'm not a magician.
Oh.
Sorry, hold on. Let me get... Hold on. No, can't find my crystal ball.
Not got it.
Can't find it.
Oh.
Tim! Where's Tim's head? Where is it?
Maybe next week. Let's see what Wild choose to remove here. Going to be kicking off with a little bit of Kafe tonight.
Yes. It's been a while since we've done a Kafe cast.
It has. Kafe is... I don't see it as being a very popular map anymore.
It's definitely in the lower tier in terms of playability. I think it's just... Right. The thing about Kafe is where it differs compared to pretty much every other map is it's all about kills. It's all about kills. Strategy plays very little part about this. If you win your 1v1s, that's it. A lot of long angles, a lot of fighting from distance. And also, I think Kafe, it's not an easy map to gain control of as an attacking side. I think it's one of the most difficult maps to actually get into.
I can't wait for the day where we see an alternate way of getting into Kafe, whether you get spawned on the roof or whether there's just some
There's no real exterior walls, and sure you can say, oh, but Garage has an exterior. What's that opening into? What? Something that a doorway would give you? Wow. Ooh. Okay, so bans. Azami being banned out makes a lot of sense. Azami is very strong in the piano room of the map. You can play there anytime you want to. You can set up all those pocket reinforcements, essentially, but they're concrete. Still have to be nated. Can't, tricky stuff to deal with. But Mira's also open, Ollie, which I do worry about for Kafe, especially top floor.
It's pick your poison, isn't it? Valkyrie or Mira? What do you want to get rid of?
I would personally go rid of the Mira. I think Valkyrie is, yes, it's annoying, but there's a simple counter IQ, as we know.
Well, we've got one of your favourites here.
Yeah, Wild's lost. Immediately.
For anyone that's not familiar, Demo is a big fan of Tachanka.
No.
Big Tachanka fan?
No.
Now, this is the reason why Tachanka is, or one of the reasons why Tachanka is brought, because of how easy it is to open that wall. But I'll be honest, BZ, you're not selling it to me.
No, I hate this
already. Took a little bit of time.
I hate this.
Now, do you want to talk us through the reasons why you don't like Tachanka, or would you like me to
I've seen this a few times, where teams will bring Tachanka for the kitchen.
Attackers are moving to defuse
Oh, goodness.
The biggest issue I have with Tachanka is, what does he offer that Smoke already doesn't give you? Right? Sure, he can open up a lot of angles. He can just open up an entire wall. Sure, fair enough. The fact that they've opened up that wall, it's essentially Wild are trying to play the bomb site without being in it. They are playing just to go for the off-site holds, hold in towards bakery if they can, hold in towards restaurant, VIP side of things, hold all of that. It's going to stretch them very, very thin. And this is the issue where I think Wild's going to struggle against Makers, is the Makers can segregate one player and just rinse that one player by themselves. It's a Jenga. All of it will just come crashing down. That's the issue with this setup from Wild, is that they are spreading themselves very thin. It's just, do they have enough butter to go on the toast?
Especially when you look at the lineup that Makers are bringing. We've got the Ying, we've got the Blitz. Those are a couple of really big disruptive operators. We've got the Lion coming out as well. Sorry, going to get himself straight in. Great cover there, covering him off from the bottom of those red stairs. Can immediately get himself on in, but is taken out. Giesler is going to be credited with the first kill. Sorry, didn't have anybody working on his shoulder, and Makers now are having to fumble a little bit. Is it going to be a desperate push and a desperate attempt? But the Candelas kicking off in the distance. Zakwi makes his way in, eventually finds one back as a trade, but that initial burst of energy hasn't quite had the impact that Makers desired.
Yeah, losing the Blitz to a bit of a foolish peak. Don't know why the Blitz decided to ADS, give himself up. What a shot from Jay using the SMG, and that's not an easy gun to hit those long-range shots with, Ollie. The recoil isn't favorable at those long distances. Sure, it's good up close and personal, but wow, you have some good gun skill to make that work, and Jay keeps it moving, Ollie. Does get eliminated. 2 versus 3. Lolo pushes in by himself. Gemini is not there to assist. Tachanka's got a kill. I can't believe it.
Well, Gemini's got a lot of work to do now as we hear the Molotovs getting sent off in his direction. Not sure how much information he's got here. He's certainly got the kit if he wants it. Finds one onto BZ. Will be able to recover the diffuser, but Aces, he's made the rotation there into Coat. Can find that nice long angle that we saw used previously. Wild. Holding strong there. Makers, I feel like they skipped a few steps there, Demo. They went for a 3-2-1. and not everyone was in the right position at that right time.
So the idea was pushing in through wedding window using the blitz, so you can just front up all of that damage that's going to be shot your way. Also using the Ying solo pushing into Coat by herself. And the idea is Blitz moves into wedding while Ying gets inside of Coat. Coat then gives you that long angle onto the red holes. So anyone who then retreats out of bakery goes into the sight line off the Ying and you clean up that way. The thing is, Jay hit an absolute worldie of a shot, and also they lost their Blitz player for no reason.
Yeah, Sorry was a little bit ahead of the curve.
It's all about gun skill in this map, in my opinion. Like, a shot like that from Jay, that changes the dynamic. You lose that man inside a Coat. You don't have that cutoff anymore. All of that utility of using the Ying, being able to gain control of that side of the map, it's gone just in a matter of seconds because Jay's hit a worldie.
Round number 2, going to be switching things up here. Going to be, as usual, that top floor hold coming through as we look toward a reading room fireplace hold. I like to see the pulse brought out on Kafe. It's a really good information gathering tool that you can use not only in the early part of the round to get a bit of an idea as to what's going on, but of course you get that heartbeat scanner and there are so many destructible floors. If you're going to be bringing a couple of C4s, it can be very much worthwhile to have that level of information.
Wonder how much Mkers shown their hand in the first round. Is that going to be the way they're going to be playing this map? Or was it just a, let's try it? If it works, we'll keep going with it, but if not, we'll just go back to basics, which it seems very basic right now with the lineup they've chosen, Ollie. Doing things by the book.
Yeah, they've gone back to a much more typical lineup, haven't they? You know, we've got the Sledge brought in there, got the Dokkaebi. Dokkaebi, a fantastic pickup for Kafe. The Lion, again, another great pickup when you're going to be really focusing on the kills.
They have the mute, though, which is a good counter to those two, Ollie.
It is a very nice counter indeed. Depends on where those jammers have been placed. Talk about the information that Gisela can gather. He's going to be doing his best now to figure out what's going on upstairs. You can, of course, call that out to the players that are going to be holding in just toward that cocktail area. So we hear the Dokkaebi call come through.
I'm waiting for a C4 to explode any minute now. I think Gisela just waiting for the correct opportunity. Trying to see if he can catch somebody maybe on a drone. And I don't think Mkers, I don't think they'd be expecting a pulse, Ollie. I think that's one thing you have to keep in mind. And you see somebody, but that's going to be a hard floor. Can't use that. But Mkers, very slow for the moment. Just trying to slowly gain control of that top floor. Look at Ash. Look at Aqui. Nice little angle. Jumped up onto the vertical and will find Canio. There is the trade-off, though. Lolo, in response, takes down BZ. Now it's a 2 versus 4.
Got a line scan to root players in spot and a Dokkaebi call to give them a little bit of hassle. Gisela, you see some bother there on the 90. Ace is looking for maybe a bit of a rotation up these white stairs, but he's almost certainly going to get droned in a moment. Still 45 seconds left to go. Of course, with no C4 left below, it's only an information gathering tool now, the heartbeat scanner. And you're going to be relying on the guns to do the hard, heavy lifting here. Not sure that Wild have got a good idea as to where this push is coming from. Ace is just going to go for a little bit of a rotation. Still 30 seconds left, though. Mkers need to start making some sort of a move as we get the drop. Vertical angles now being opened up because potentially we could see Gisela have to hold this angle firm, but he isn't able to. Aces, he's made his way all the way upstairs. Takes out the drone. His location now likely going to be known, and of course with these holes in the floor, he might be able to do something, but the plant is going to be going down. Struggling to find it. Might find himself an engagement first. It's going to be Gemini that shuts him down. Mkers collect round number 2.
Do indeed. Slow and steady wins the race, Ollie. Just in total control the whole time, weren't they? There was never a moment where I thought, oh, it could be on here for Mkers. Yeah, as easy as you like. Not much more you can say. That's the way it should be attacked for the Kafe, that top floor. Gaining control slowly but surely. It's a small map. You can execute in a matter of 5 seconds. As long as you get your picks, you can do so. Again, I think Wild probably... They could put more of a fight, I think.
I think they could put more of a fight on that top floor. They held on, but they didn't really hold on for very long.
Again, Mira's up, which I think is a given that you need to be playing for these top floors, and I've spoken.
Goodness.
What Miras are they going to do, though? That's what I want to know.
There's a couple of different options. Of course, with Azami being removed, you want to get some sort of hold over toward Piano. So you can, of course, use a mirror window to do that. It looks like he's going to go for the long mirror.
Yeah, he's going to put the one on Freezer. And the second one
Located a bomb.
is going to go for the default skylight drop. Okay. So they're going to try and play, I'm assuming one guy inside a pixel, which is going to be tricky because no shield. Not bringing a shield, which I think is a bit of a necessity also. But then the double mirror windows, you open up piano, you have that long angle, it denies them out of piano. For this top floor attack, if you're looking at a cocktail attack, it's all about gaining control of piano. That is how it has to work. You have to gain control of this room, and it can be very tricky for defenders to actually hold that. With a lot of windows, of course, as we know, looking into that room. Not a lot of safe positions you can actually sit in. So that's where Mira comes into big effect. You can hold that room without even having to be in it.
Do you think that Makers have got enough burn? Have they got enough stuns? They've got 12. I'm worried they could have brought a couple more.
I would have liked to have seen an extra set of nades.
Where's the extra set of grenades, Demo?
The extra set of nades would be nice. But then again, you have the Flores, so if there were any shield worries, that would be dealt with swiftly. No real issues. Also, only bringing the Habana as your hard breach is also going to hinder you. You're not going to have those big openings that you like to have onto the top red wall. But it'd be very unlikely to see anybody swinging inside of piano from the defense, just because you don't have that Azami. We've mentioned before, Azami is crucial in holding piano with those concrete barriers you can place all around the different furniture, block up the windows, create a mess realistically inside of that room. But it's just come down to Makers. I mean, WYL is set up pretty generic. There's nothing I think for Makers should surprise them. We've seen this plenty of times before. It's just how good are they at actually being able to get these picks. There's Jay. Nasty habit he falls into. He just dies for no real reason, I see a lot of the time. And I don't know what's going on.
We saw it happen a lot last week. I'm not sure if he's been unfortunate there, but he's been caught on Pixel.
How?
He's obviously overpeaked to some degree. And yes, you've got the mirror window that's going to help holding into piano a little bit.
Yeah,
but you need a little bit more. I think he was just, getting caught in that wandering territory that we often speak about. Now, the flip side to that is Maker's info was pretty bad there because they've just burnt a nade on basically nothing. Jay is no longer in that position and no one came up to fill the gap. Instead, Wild have dug in quite deep and they're playing in and around the cocktail area, trying to take advantage of that mirror window. They've got Aces below, who is going to be a big, big player in this round if a push does come through any further.
Oh, how has he been allowed to get away with that? You're doing the right thing. I was going to mention that they don't have a lot of X-Kairos pellets to actually remove these mirror windows, and you're doing the good thing, which is getting rid of them, and then you just allowed them to swing out. Why? I don't know, but it's happened.
Aces picks up one from below, might be able to get himself a second here as well. Akwi is going to get shut down, no nades remaining, so not a great deal of utility lost, but it is a gun in the final fight. We are seeing the mute jammer come into effect there as one of the X-Kairos pellets won't actually detonate. Now, you've got to be careful going below because you know that Aces is going to be there, but he gets caught in the reload by Lolo. Kaneo, he's able to shut down Doro and looks to make a bit of a further rotation up these white stairs, but the barbed wire may be going to give him away here, and BZ will take him out. Meanwhile, Gemini was attempting the plant, but isn't being given the time or space to do so. Save that, finds the kill onto Kaneo. Sorry, backs him up as well. BZ, all you've got to do is take out the planter. Where was the cover?
Didn't know where he was, Ollie. That was the issue. Had no idea where the mirror was positioned.
He's got the mirror window.
Yes, but he was looking towards planks, Ollie. He didn't know. He didn't know. It's a 50-50. He looks planks, he looks to trash. That's all it is. It's a 50-50.
Tense stuff. It's funny to see me lose my rag before you.
Why are you losing it?
I don't know. No, I just fancied it today. I think I just fancied it, honestly.
So well, if you're going to do that, what do I do? Do I sit here and tell funny jokes then? Is that...
Do you tell funny jokes?
I think you are... If you don't know about Ollie, I personally think he's the king of the one-liners. Honestly.
He's got so much pressure on me for it. It just happens.
You could be sitting with him randomly sending off and he just comes out with the most weirdest stuff and it's just the king of one-liners, I'm telling you.
See, now I feel pressured for a one-liner.
Give us a one-liner.
I haven't got one. I haven't got one yet.
You've let everyone down. You've let the side down today. You asked me, oh, Demo, give me a mental breakdown. I close my eyes and I think to last year, and that's all I need. That's all I need. Or I can sit there and I think, G2, BDS, Skyscraper. There's so much that can fuel the fire, Ollie.
Deary me.
Oh, we're back to this strat again, aren't we?
Well, it's different attacking lineup at least, but it's the same. The problem is it worked, Demo.
It did work.
That's the problem. So Wild are going to do it again because, guess what? They work for them. However, Makers have made a couple of changes of their own here. No longer are they bringing the Blitz. Instead, they are going to be I imagine going for something somewhat similar. They've still got the smokes, but they haven't got the Ying.
I think they'll just go for the top-down clear. I think using the sledge. That's one thing, actually, we haven't seen in a while, I think, on Kafe, just in general, is for the basement. I keep saying basement. It's the kitchen, because it's first floor. I always get confused with that. Nice. Opening pick. Ace is gone. Again, Ace is on that Jaeger. Hasn't been hitting, I think, the roaming aspect that he should be. But back to the point I was making, Ollie, we don't really see a lot of these top-down clears because teams have actually been really focused with these VIP takes. That's kind of been the norm, hasn't it? Teams will take in through VIP, push in towards white, clear the guy behind the shield, push in double window, and try and just go direct from freezer. Very rare you would see the full clear. And I think the full clear is still, it's very good because think of the verticality that you can gain, you can push everyone out. But I think probably why it's not as favored is because, like I mentioned, everyone gets pushed out of sight. You're not going to get the value of sledge anyway. Teams are expecting, the go-to norm is don't set up the site so you can get sledge from above. That's the kind of go-to, isn't it?
Absolutely, and we can already see that coming through there. We've got a lot of players off site here. But the good thing is that it does force them into unfavourable locations. There's only Gisela playing on the site right now.
Yeah.
Now the vertical holes can start to get opened up, and if you know where they aren't, then you've got a good idea of where they are. Jay going to be playing at the bottom of white, just in and around the wedding area.
I like the
bit of an angle there.
I like the nomad pick, Ollie, has to be said.
The flank watch is there this time, and it's something that maybe was a little bit lacking in the previous round.
You have to be ready for it.
Yes.
But it's not too favourable right now for WYL. They've lost their utility with the shield. It's only going to be a matter of time, I feel, Ollie, before that VIP does get taken. Because again, the general gist, you will open above, teams know not to play in sight anymore. And it just forces them, like you mentioned, into these unfavourable positions, which are expected spots. Nades can start rolling in at any given moment. There's been a drop in towards Freezer, Ollie. Habana is on the door to sight. Canio, I think, is aware of that. Now it's up to WYL. How will they go against this? Because they don't have a lot of options, Ollie. With that vertical pressure being applied, they're not going to be able to retake the site.
It was a good double peek there to allow Canio to have Canio let the players slip by. Gemini going to be there in position to take down BZ. Canio does get the frag, but is downed in process. Doro looking to try and get this plant down now as Jay moves his way on in, but is taken out immediately. The cover is there. Gisela, two desperate impacts, but nothing gained. Picks up one, still vertical pressure above. Might just try and hop on the defuse here. Is anybody close? Is anybody nearby? Yes, we do have a Mkers player, and they are able to land some shots. Lolo, he hears exactly what is going on, gets a good bit of piece of information, and doesn't waste any time.
Good that you picked up, Ollie, on that double swing that they went for onto Canio. Canio in the VIP, his sole job is to stop people dropping that hatch. Very difficult to do that if there's another man swinging your door, isn't it? And that was well timed for Mkers.
I think it was the only way Mkers were getting in.
Pretty much. Because they didn't actually fully commit to clearing VIP the way I expected to. I think they did, but they almost used the Habana as like a distraction almost. Yeah. Because surely if you're Canio, if you're getting swung and you know a guy's in freezer, which we knew, definitely, Canio knew there's somebody who was in freezer. The moment of panic then ensues because he's going to call out, there's a guy in freezer. What? Everyone's going to then kind of panic, leave their positions, which did happen. Remember, Tachanka was playing on the bottom of gold stairs. Panic happens, he moves away. What happens? Guy walks down gold stairs.
Yep.
2 seconds later, picks off Canio.
It's one of the big problems with setting up the site in that way and having everything open, because as soon as you do start to lose a bit of control vertically, you then really at a loss when you start to play on the site because there's so many big, long crossfires.
This is where I think Echo is also very crucial for our basement. We've seen how many times has Echo been the saviour for that bomb site. If you know you're getting forced away and you know teams are going to be planting inside a freezer, and don't forget, it's not a quick attack to set up. No. It takes you quite a while to sweep the whole top floor, sweep the second floor, use the verticality, clear VIP, everything that goes in that. You are not left with a lot of time, and that's whenever we see an Echo inside a bakery, which is untouched the entire round, comes in big. That's a small adaptation I think WYL could really do with if they choose to go back there.
Well, WYL have gone for a similar lineup here again, defending into that mid floor. Now, last time we sort of asked, is it going to be worth bringing the Mira for this? Are they going to try and bring a little bit more to give them a bit more security on that top floor and enable them to hold it for a little bit longer? Because previously we saw them drop off quite quickly. It's going to be Aces playing inside a pixel this time. Jay has been firmly moved. He's on the slightly safer white stairs.
Yeah, he's not in the depths. His dreaded piano. Again, Aces and Jay just need to watch themselves, Ollie. We talk about how many times the man advantage is massive in Kafe, where it is about the gunfights. And whenever it's more about the gunfights, if you have more bodies alive, that's going to be great for the trade game. We mentioned strategies sure, it's there in Kafe, but it's not the end-all and be-all. Your trade game and getting kills is the most important part.
And especially if you're going to give up that much ground. Sure, we've got Gisela below. He's got the impact. He's got the heartbeat sensor and the C4, so we can do something. But they've given up so much ground inside of Piano so early that Makers have been able to flood on through. Already we're seeing players pressured in upstairs, and already we're seeing players start to drop off. Ace is already on the halfway point. Jay, he's ready to jump himself down that laundry hatch. The C4 below, yes, it's a threat, but it's not doing anything at the minute.
Yeah. All about staying alive as the defense, because like you mentioned, Makers are the flood. We have the dam being built by Wild. If you take away one plank out of the dam, does that make it weaker?
I'd use bricks for a dam, I think.
Well, whatever we're using, you take away another one, and another one, and another one, and eventually the dam's going to crack.
Ooh, Gemini's got down by an impact there. We did see a C4 come in onto Acqui, so it is slowly but surely working. Wild are able to battle back a bit more.
They're draining the flood now. This is the other end of it all. You got the buckets in there, get it tossed overboard, plug up the hole. There's no leaks.
We're trying to bail them out here. 45 seconds. Gemini doesn't look to have too much info. Kaneo's in a great spot. He's barely moved all round, and he might see himself come up with a couple of kills here. Pops up, finds one, immediately taken out as the trade, keeping that score count nice and level. Still, we've got the heartbeat scanner we've got to be conscious of, but no C4, so it isn't going to be as deadly, but it will still provide that information. Aces, he's on those red stairs, ready for that flank, and slowly but surely,
Sorry, just seen a guy.
Makers, they need to start thinking about this plan. We are going to see a couple of stuns caught up there, but it's going to be Gemini that's in the hot seat to pick that one up. Great bit of teamwork. Gisela shuts Sorry down, finds himself a second. Lolo, you got to come through and save the day. You've got 4 seconds. Aces, run away, my friend. He's got the red ping. Lolo went for the camera. Desperate shots through the soft wall. Wild. They're going to do it on time.
That was very close, though. Stray pistol through the wall. Whew.
Stranger things have happened.
Certainly.
Stranger things have happened indeed.
Such as, Ollie, enlighten us. What strange things have happened? That's been stranger than that?
Sitting bar and cocktail and cafe demo.
That's not strange. Come on.
It's not exactly common. We are going to be going there for the second time, of course, here tonight.
No kitchen, which, again, top floor, it worked not as well as I think what probably Wild wanted to, but again, the general idea was still there. Makers, looking at that last round, they stumble for time a bit. I think whenever they start losing some players, you can see that, okay, right now, what do we do?
Especially with how much map control they were gifted so early.
I just think they need to be a little bit quicker, because, especially for that top floor hold, there is nothing Wild put up there. There's no Miras you're burning through, no Goyos you're burning through. Just a few players with guns. I think they're lacking nades. Big time they're lacking nades. I think Iana and Sledge need to come out, in my opinion.
What a drone this is, by the way.
Never seen that one.
Do they know it's there?
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb.
There was 3 people looking in that direction.
Are you going to slip that into your drone placements?
I just don't know how they got it there.
I love it, because
I think it's a good drone, but I don't know how you get it there when 3 people are in the room.
It kind of shows what me and you are into. I love seeing ingenious pocket strategies. Well, you get off it on a drone. You know what I mean?
I was more just surprised that 3 people were looking at it.
Drone placement. Wow, I need that. Quick, I'll be using that.
BA.
You can't wait to go and tell Tim. Tim, look what I found. You didn't find it. You stole it.
I was more in awe that there were 3 people looking at it and couldn't find it.
You were like, oh, look at this drone spot. That's the first thing you said, you liar.
Well, let's see if it does anything. Is anyone even playing in the washroom? Oh, look at this. Look at this. It's free info demo.
You love it. It's a light reinforcement. That is risky, as we said. From the Mira. But again, same lineup from Wild. There should be nothing that Makers are surprised about. I mentioned I'd love to see Iana and a Sledge. There's the Iana Ollie, but no Sledge this time. So again, I think still lacking some form of nades. They brought on the Twitch to try and deal with the Mira windows. Mira's actually, one of them has been popped, Ollie. Is that from the Twitch drone? It must have been. That's a good start. That is one of the biggest issues that Makers ran into last time, was not having any piano control because of that Mira window. Now with the Mira window being disabled, it's going to give Makers free range.
Well, that's the thing. Where do you play as Wild now? You really have to sort of buddy up inside a cocktail. You're going to struggle to play any further up.
Oh my goodness. Night vision.
This is a new one.
Oh, we can see everyone glow. Whoa!
can't decide if I prefer this or not.
That's like you're in the AC-130 above. You're seeing the thermal vision. There we go.
There we go.
No, put it back. I like the other one. I like that vision. Learn something new every day. So right now, they are just going to try and flood in the site. Ollie, that's the only thing I'm seeing. You're seeing players now stacked up in towards trash, and they're just going to go for the trash plant. They brought in the smokes from the Twitch to cover off the Mira window. That's how they've dealt with it. Let them have the vision, but then the C4 comes out. Down goes Dora. It was a great little play, but now it's all for naught, Ollie, because the smoke is evaporated. The Mira window's still standing. Mkers are not going to be in a position, Ollie, to move in and pick up that diffuser again because of the Mira window.
They haven't got a lot really to play off the back of here. We are going to see Lolo try and push up aggressively and grab one back. BZ gets caught, shot in the back. Aces, he's going to be on the second floor. Giesler is all on his own behind that Mira window now. Aces is going to go for that rotation, but the diffuser has been recovered. Can Lolo cover? Lolo only got the DMR, doesn't want to be taking too long engagements. Finds himself 4 seconds left. Lolo, which way do you go? Aces! Oh, another calamity in the final few seconds, Demo, and Wild come out on top yet again.
Oh, just what a round. What a round. Also being very careful not to like say anything that's like clippable for somebody's sub alerts. I'm trying really careful for that. There's a certain man who's actually using me for money.
It was brilliant though, wasn't it?
It was brilliant. Yeah, that round. I looked at it and think, okay, exact same setup for Wild. How are Mkers going to adapt? Bring in the Twitch, got rid of one Twitch drone. Magnificent work. Sure, didn't get the second Mira window, but what did they bring in? They used the smokes.
Yeah.
They covered off the vision. The Mira window's no good to you if you can't see. Walk in, plant in trash. C4 comes out. Really, really important that they clocked onto that.
There's a Hail Mary C4.
They needed it, and it worked. And then it's a 4 versus 3, and you're thinking, okay, now Mkers, what do you do? There's a Mira window, diffuser's in sight of that. What? That's you done. But then Wild start giving away picks. It's into a 3 versus 2. Aces is in Narnia. It's a 1v3. And then just more ace. What more can you say?
He gets the job done, that is for sure.
Oh, he's so good, isn't he?
Is
so good.
2 rounds on the attack going to be enough? That's the big question right now. Mkers, they are setting up in a much more traditional way.
This
Already,
is what I like to see.
There are some big changes being brought here. Not only have we got the Warden, we have also got an Echo. Something that we love to see on a kitchen defense.
This is everything.
Gives you that deployable shield, of which they've got 4, by the way. So they've got plenty of deployables.
That is actually a lot. Where have they placed them all? Who knows? Because surely there's a stage where like, okay, there's one there. Where do I put this one?
2 in Bakery.
2 in Bakery. One must be in VIP. The other one is where? Where's the second one? In somewhere? Oh, it's on Whiskey Bar. It's on Whiskey Bar. Looking onto gold stairs. There it is. It's the 4 of them. I got all 4 of them this time.
Kaneo going to kick things off with a nice kill onto Lolo. Jay lands a nade. Wild, they're not wasting any time here. Gemini is battling on that long angle. Doro could find himself in the hot seat quite quickly here as there's a heavy stack up outside on that Bakery double. Doesn't really want to challenge it too much.
It's good utility from Wild. They just went for a generic blitz. For all your flashbangs in, use your nades, and Mkers are getting a little bit desperate. Ollie, they're trying to find kills back and forth and into their favor, but still not favorable for them. A 2 versus 4. Sorry. And Gemini. Any Echo drones up? Can he utilize them? There is still one, as you can see. I think, is there still one? There should be. Is there
some red pings getting thrown out before. I'm not sure if it did get shot out or not.
Just waiting now, but realistically for Wild, Ollie, a minute 15. 2-man advantage. Take your time. That's what I don't want to see is, again, this is, what did I mention on the pre-show? Wanderers, get them out. I don't want to see Wanderers.
We do not want to be going 1 at a time for this. A minimum of 2x2. As we can see, Mkers, they've doubled up a little bit here. They're playing in and around the Whiskey Bar. We're going to see a rotation over toward that freezer.
Get somebody in Wedding, because
They've
you
got
need to shut down the red holes.
rain right now of that backside.
If they place somebody in Wedding, you can shut down Jaeger swinging the red holes, which should be happening right now. This is so risky. Oh, and they've got the long angle, never mind, from Sledge. That is downed Gemini. Sorry, is not there in response. He's swinging in, flashbangs are going out. Was maybe looking for the pickup, but Jay shuts him down. Good coverage from Jay. Didn't know they actually opened up that right side. Didn't see it good enough. And yeah, that'll give them that long angle onto the red holes. Didn't need to go into Wedding. Yeah, just Wild, a very generic bakery take, all from one way, one-dimensional.
Sometimes it's all you need. They played together with some good teamwork. Jay opened things up with a really nice... Well, he didn't open up, but he got a second kill of the round with a really nice nade. I think the utility usage was good. They brought 4 sets of nades. We commented on the amount of deployable shields. It's not that if they'd have brought anything else that Makers would have had an easier time of things. They'd set their sights up in the way that they saw fit, but it wasn't ready for an aggressive push. It was ready for a slow push, and that's not what Wild brought. Wild are a team that, as we've seen, have the ability to play fast and play slow.
Immediately, if you're Makers, you look at that setup that you went for and you think, yeah, we need a 1i. That was it. You need more denial, essentially, because sure, you've got the ADSs, but there's going to be, what, 2, maybe 3 you could have there, but then again, I think you need 1 for VIP at least, so you're only going to have 2 ADSs. That's 2 flashbangs, and then they just roll in. That's it.
10 seconds left before insertion.
Oh, into the alternate mid-floor site here.
The maze. We're making a funhouse, Ollie. Look at this.
Goodness me.
Those are some long angles you can gain now.
It's like the Hulk's been running through your house.
The Juggernaut. Look at this setup. Look at this. Double castle barricades upstairs with a massive hole opening in between them on that single soft wall. You've opened up white. Solo man inside a cocktail bar. Give me you talk for a bit. Give me 2 seconds.
Well, Makers have gone for something a little bit more unorthodox here. That much is certainly fair to say. It's going to be difficult to even remember their own angles that they've made, never mind Wild looking onto this and trying to make some sense of it.
Okay, so I have an idea of what they went for. For this bomb site, it's very easy for the attackers to shut down everything you're doing if they have upstairs control. And you can do so by just open up red wall and getting in towards piano, because there's a hatch in the middle of the bomb site, which is just so crucial to have. What's happening right now, Ace is just strolling through the site. A moment of panic there for Makers, but they have been able to do well with it. Back to the setup. Makers just trying to deny all of piano. They've set up in towards shop. They have that solo player. This was the solo player inside a cocktail. He was trying to deny people if they pushed in towards shop or if they tried to push in towards skylight. But Wild have just ignored that. Wild have just looked, we're not even going to deal with that. We're just going to try and push in through windows. Again, minimalistic, very one-directional from Wild. In my head, it shouldn't work. These one-directional push-in through windows one by one at a time should not work. There should be better angles being held from Makers, in my opinion. If you have upstairs control, if you are Makers, you should be able to punish this, but they've done no verticality. Sure, there's a guy in the hatch who realistically should be getting about 5 kills right now, but Dora, take the plunge, mate. It's 3 kills.
The right below him here. The plant's going to be going down now. He will go for the drop. Picks himself up 1. Can he find the second? No, gets taken out. We are seeing a bit of an attempt at a refrag here. Lolo, he hits the swing, but he's 1 versus 2. Essentially 1 versus 1 now, but Jay is holding a fantastic angle just on the lower side of these red stairs, looking for the player as they hop out. Flashbang's being thrown out now in an attempt to burn out some of this time, and safely Giesler goes, gets himself out. Lolo, no idea that Jay is going to be holding the angle just from the lower side of those red stairs. Wild, so opportunistic, so patient. I feel like they've got away with it there, Devil, again.
They've heisted that 100%.
But they keep doing it.
They shouldn't be able to get away with that. That's criminal. Absolutely criminal. Wild have just jumped in the same window 4 times individually and gotten away with that. Dora, question marks above your head. Has to be. If he's in shop, you have that hatch open to stop players from doing that. That's your position. Nobody from Wild was interested in above. Not a sinner. I don't even think the hatches above were open. The roof hatches.
No, the roof hatches, no. I don't think anyone went on the roof.
There was nobody on the windows. There was nothing that tells Dora I might be getting pushed here. He is as happy as Larry. There's nothing coming near him. He has that hatch open. All he has to do is hold 1 angle. As soon as Aces slips in there, sure, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. That can happen. 1 player can slip in Aces, but you got the refrag, right?
It was early as well.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it happens. But it should never be allowed to get past that point. He should be switched on, holding that, but he hasn't done so. That was realistically the only way that Wild were playing that, was preying on the downfall that, hey, let's hope they're not holding this.
Defenders protect.
I just think they've got away with murder. Absolute murder.
Well, quite rightly, Makers have just taken their tactical timeout. Now, there's an argument to say it could be a little bit too little too late here. Wild have picked up 2 rounds already on the attack. Makers themselves achieved 2 rounds on the attack. The problem now is Wild are on match point, which leaves them only 1 round away from closing it out. Kafe and taking us over to Oregon. Mkers, they've got to find 4 flawless rounds here if they want to contend and take this one into an overtime. And honestly, with so far what we've seen, I'm not sure that they've necessarily got it in them. But let's see what they can concoct here. They're going to be bringing the Mira window for this mid-floor hold. They're going for the much more traditional and favoured bomb site here. Fireplace and Reading as opposed to a sort of off-meta choice that they went for last time. Anywhere that's got a single window that leads directly into site, just avoid it. It's never usually a good time.
They didn't even really use the window.
I mean, yes, Strikel, this has got a single window that leads into site, but you can't just hop
Who's repelling in?
You've got to be on repel, please.
He's actually tried to call you out
He
there.
has, hasn't he?
Yep.
Dearie me.
These observers are just ego on them.
There we
and
go.
The other two as well are the same. Just ego from the observers. Honestly. Oh, look at me! I've got a controller and I watch Siege. Look at me! Oh,
oh dear. You got to be polite to the observers because they tell the story for us.
Yeah.
Oh, Ace has just pulled the trigger. Go on.
Ooh.
Puts a good bit of damage in onto Lolo. Lolo is going to be able to navigate that though and get himself away. But the opening kill will go to Wild regardless. Akwi, he's going to fall, and with him, a lot of info.
What's upstairs looking like? Is the Mira windows intact still? I mean, again, they've played those default Mira windows that should work. It's as if you're holding that top floor as an actual bomb site. It's kind of the way that teams do like to play this defense for the mid floor. Because keep in mind, you can't really plant inside of Reading. If there is an upstairs pressure, you can open up the holes above and play vertically, of course. But for Wild, you have that man advantage. A minute 30 to go. Lolo's also on very low HP, you know that. Aces will be calling that out. I'm not really sure where Wild are going to go, because if they start trying to rotate above volley and trying to go for a traditional clear, first of all, they don't have a lot of time left, and second of all, the Mira windows. And they have no way of getting rid of them. They don't bring any hard breach in this lineup. They don't bring a Twitch. Again, it's going to be a Wild round. You know what? Not like a WYLD round. It's like just the teams round. One of those Wild rounds that we talk about, where they get away with it.
Well, they're going for a similar approach, aren't they? There's a lot hinging on the bottom of this red stairs now.
Yeah.
We've seen Mkers retake that top floor, and we're going to see an isolated player now likely get taken out. Sorry is going to be there with the cover. Aces shut down, traded immediately. C4 swings and misses. Doro gets himself into an engagement as well. Still with vertical cover here. Lolo, we might be able to try and get something done here, but the flood is coming, and Jay is at the face of it. Takes down Doro. Lolo, you're still holding upstairs. Everyone's pushing the site. You need to make that rotation, and you need to make it quicker. What a shot from Jay! Domes Gemini through the wall. Lolo finds himself 1, but is it going to be enough? He needs to find 3 more in 20 seconds. The diffuser in Jay's hand. He's going to look to try and make a rotation through. There are some vertical holes, but likely not going to be enough. Hits the drop, looks for a player over in toward that train area, but knows that the window, or the doorway, sorry, is going to be being held here. He's very unlikely to be able to make this transition. The plank going down. Wild, they're circling, getting themselves in position for this post plant, not thirsting after the kill, and looking to try and lock in at this map number 1. 30 seconds, 3 kills to find, 10 seconds per kill. It's looking very unlikely here for Lolo. Makes his way around the 90, but Wild, they are going to be holding it, more specifically Kaneo is able to find him out there. Quick little hop over off the back of a bit of info, no doubt. Wild, what a performance here, 7-2 on Kafe.
Yep, dominance. Again, Wild, I don't know how they're getting away with these rounds, Ollie. I really don't. I don't know. I feel as if that should be shut down immediately. This is what I mean about Kafe, is that the strats, they mean very little in Kafe. It's all about the kills.